Today we'll be talking about how we can figure out what exactly we really want from our lives and how to gain clarity about what direction we need to be traveling in to truly transform our path so that we can live our most authentic, joyful, and fulfilling life. Stick around. Welcome back. My name's Nina and I'm a life coach that specializes in personal development. Here at this channel we talk all about our emotional well-being, understanding our own psychology, and living our best life possible. So if you aren't already a subscriber, please go ahead and become one. We definitely want you to stay connected. So many times people come to me specifically because they want to make big changes in their life, as many of us do. The problem is, however, that when I ask them what it is they want out of life or what some of their future goals might be, they honestly have no idea. And I think this is the case for many, many people. I think a lot of times we do have that gut feeling that something isn't right, or we kind of know that we are on the wrong path, but that's really where it ends. And clearly we can't get what we want out of life if we have no idea what it is we do want out of life. And I think that that's where so many of us get stuck. We just continue doing whatever it is we normally do because we can't think of an alternative. When we don't have a roadmap to something better, we just stay on the same path we are on, even though it doesn't really make us happy. And it can seem incredibly overwhelming to consider such big decisions, especially when we are filled with self-doubt, which is so often the case. So how can we effectively do this? How can we figure out what would make us happy or what would be the better path for us? I think the first step in this, and the easiest strategy to kind of get this ball rolling, is to figure out what it is we don't want. What are the things in our life that are not making us happy? We need to gain clarity about this first. And a lot of times, even though we can't figure out exactly what we do want yet, we can certainly figure out what we don't want. And we can kind of sit down and brainstorm. And this is a process that could take a couple days, but it could take a couple weeks or even longer to really search our heart and to analyze our life and see what isn't working. Where are the stumbling blocks? Where are the things that are occurring that we just can't deal with anymore, that we know need to change? So we can make out a physical list of this. So we can list out all the things in our life that specifically are things that we know are not the right path for us. And then we can kind of divide it up into categories if that's helpful. We can have work, social life, family, whatever it is, and really focus on these individual aspects of our life and then make sentences such as, I know that working a 9-to-5 job does not make me happy, or I know that having a boss that is disrespectful does not make me happy. And then on the other side, we can make a sentence that would fix the problem. So maybe I know that having a job with flexible hours would make me happy, or I know if I was in a work environment where I felt cared for and respected, that would make me happy. So this is where we want to start. So if we know what we don't want, we can kind of flip it around and figure out from that what it is that would be a better choice for our life. And you really want to make these lists as detailed as possible and to include as many aspects of your life as possible, because we want to think of them almost like puzzle pieces, because we can take all these puzzle pieces at the end of this and figure out from the puzzle pieces that we have or would be necessary to really complete our puzzle what realistic options would be available for our life. So we can kind of start to fill in the blanks. So getting specific is extremely helpful in this process. And the next step that we can do is to make another list of all the things in our life that really do bring us joy already. What are the aspects of our life that we really want to continue to include? What are the things that make us feel fulfilled, that bring us joy, that give our life meaning? What are the things that we already have that are good? So many times when we are feeling like we don't know what we want to do with our life, we kind of really focus on the negative. And a lot of times there are actually tons of positive things in our life that we're really overlooking because we're miserable thinking about all the things that we really want to change. So actually writing these things down and seeing all the good things in our life is also really helpful, because those are puzzle pieces as well. We're going to keep those pieces in our puzzle. So go ahead and write that out and just think about all the blessings in your life and all the positives. Another huge part of the puzzle is figuring out what gives our life meaning and purpose. What are the things that we genuinely care about? And maybe we are feeling right now that our life is really lacking meaning and lacking purpose, which is making us feel like we want to make these big changes. And that is important to have insight on as well. So we want to really, again, list these things out. Is it being a great parent? Is it helping people? Whatever it is for you, these are also things that we really need to understand, because these are very important puzzle pieces. Because when our life does not feel like it has meaning, it is never going to seem fulfilling. Another exercise that I love to do with my clients is to have them sit down and to really visualize their life as it is now and think about what the eventual outcomes would be if no changes were actually made. So if we close our eyes and again really think about how our life is headed now, and if we keep going in this direction, are we going to like where we end up? Is this an idea that makes you feel happy? Or is this an idea that makes you feel terrified or unfulfilled or whatever negative emotions that it brings up? Now, if it brings up very negative emotions and you feel that you have a negative outcome if you keep going in the same direction, we can start to think about what changes we could make to ensure that this outcome does not happen. So what things could you do to effectively make changes that could start to push you in the opposite direction? So if the envisioned outcomes were, again, terrible, what could you do instead? And the last part of this puzzle is really sitting down with ourselves and figuring out what is holding us back. Why haven't we made changes in our life already? It's probably fairly unlikely that we had no clue that we weren't happy in our life or that changes needed to be made. Usually this isn't something that kind of sneaks up on us. Usually this is a feeling that really builds with time. So we probably had at least some awareness that we do want to make changes to our life. So why haven't we done that? A lot of times it comes down to limiting beliefs. These are negative beliefs that we have about ourselves that are usually completely untrue, that really keep us confined into kind of trying to live a safe world that we feel that we can control or we feel that we can be successful in. So these could be statements such as, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not capable enough, I am too old to make changes. Could be anything, but these are really these self-imposed beliefs that again usually are completely unfounded and completely untrue, that really genuinely hold us back from living our best life. So if this is something that you feel may be the case for you or something that you want more information on, I'm going to go ahead and link down a video I made on this topic already about self-limiting beliefs. So that video really talks about how to identify what they are and then how to break through them so that we can go ahead and push forward. And the last part of this is simply to start to connect the dots, to take a look at all these different puzzle pieces. What would make our life meaningful? What we think would make us happy? What are the things that don't make us happy? And putting them all together and figuring out possibilities. How can all of these things work together to create the future that we want? And then we can look at all the possibilities that we come up with and really start to envision them and to explore them a little more deeply and figure out if this is a good possible path for us, and then just start narrowing it all down. And more often than not, we're going to come across something that really does make our heart sing. Usually we know deep down what it has been all along, and it's really fear that holds us back. So again, it's going back and confronting those limiting beliefs, because in the end, we have to live a life that is true to ourselves, and we don't want fear to be the reason that is really blocking us from that. So again, just figure out by using all these different puzzle pieces, what it seems like the best possible path could be for you, and start to make tiny little changes that every day pushes us a little further on that path. And it is truly as simple as that, because once we have momentum, once we have that ball rolling, it's very easy to stay on that path, and we start to get inspired. We start to prove to ourselves that yes, this really is possible, and it all starts to kind of come together. But it all starts with that introspection. So I truly hope this video was inspiring and helpful to you today. And if it was, please like it, share it with someone else who may need to hear the same message today. And also do become a subscriber if you aren't one already. We definitely want you to stay connected. And I thank you so much for spending time with me today. Have an absolutely amazing day.